Have you ever wondered why a product worked perfectly as a 3D print, but failed the moment it was manufactured? It happens all the time. Not because the idea was bad, because the prototype lied. Here's what many founders don't realize. Not all prototypes validate a product. Some only validate the shape. A 3D printed prototype can show you how something looks, how parts fit together, how it feels in your hand. But that's often where the validation stops. Because 3D printed plastic isn't production plastic. It doesn't have the same strength, the same flexibility, the same surface finish, the same wear resistance, the same thermal properties, or the same long-term performance. This is where many teams make a costly mistake. They build a beautiful 3D printed prototype. Everything looks great, everything fits. Then they spend tens of thousands of dollars on production tooling, only to discover the product doesn't actually work. A snap fit breaks, a living hinge cracks, a gasket doesn't seal, a latch wears out, a flexible part tears, a housing warps. Now the tooling has to change, the prototype has to be rebuilt, the project gets delayed, and the costs keep climbing. That's why prototyping isn't about proving your product looks right. It's about proving it performs right. At Rabbit Product Design, we use production-grade materials whenever possible. Instead of relying only on 3D printing, we often machine parts from the same materials that will be used in production. Why? Because real materials produce real answers. Need to validate a structural component? Machine it. Need to test strength? Machine it. Need to evaluate durability? Machine it. But not every part should be machined. If a component needs to flex, stretch, compress, or seal, a machined plastic may not behave like the final molded part, and a 3D print may simply crack or tear. That's where cast urethane becomes incredibly valuable. Cast urethane allows us to closely replicate the flexibility and mechanical properties of non-rigid materials. It's ideal for validating gasket seals, soft-touch components, flexible covers, rubber-like features, and parts that simply can't be evaluated accurately with a rigid 3D print. The goal isn't to build a prototype. The goal is to build confidence. Confidence that your design actually works before expensive tooling begins. Here's another surprise. A proper prototype often saves far more money than it costs, because discovering a problem before tooling is dramatically less expensive than discovering it afterward. We've worked with founders whose products looked perfect as 3D prints, but once we built functional prototypes using production-grade materials, we uncovered issues that never would have appeared otherwise. Strength problems, wear issues, assembly challenges, seal failures, performance differences, problems that could have required costly tooling changes later. Instead, they were solved early, when changes were fast and affordable. That's the value of functional prototyping. At Rabbit Product Design, we don't build prototypes just to make something look real. We build prototypes that answer critical engineering questions. Can it survive? Can it seal? Can it flex? Can it assemble? Can it be manufactured? Can it perform exactly as intended? Because the purpose of a prototype isn't to impress people, it's to reduce risk. If you're serious about bringing your product to market, don't confuse a visual model with a validated product. The wrong prototype can create false confidence. The right prototype can save months of development, thousands of dollars, and countless headaches. Schedule a free strategy session. Click the link in the description below to learn more. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and ring the bell.